Hi guys and girls, Rose Burnett, Mind, Body, Soul Balance Coach here, and this is your daily inspiration. And today we're talking about resentment. And this question was raised by Zizi, one of our YouTube members, subscribers. And the question that was asked was how to let go of resentment. It keeps playing out over and over again in my mind. When I think about it, it makes me angry all over again. Great question. And dare I say, before we get started, if you've got any questions you want answered in the Daily Inspirational Series, pop them down below, right? I will just preempt that with saying it's not about tarot predictions, right? If you want anything to do with that kind of stuff, you need to order a personal reading with me. It's more about personal development, empowerment, mind, body, soul balance, yeah? Relationship advice too, you need that. So let's dive deep into Zizi's question. And I have got a few notes here because I do like to do a bit of background research into stuff in terms of resentment. So what is resentment? Well, at one level we've got anger, and at a deeper level we've got resentment. Often resentment is triggered by a situation, a circumstance, something that we're on the receiving end of or feel that is an injustice or something that's unfair, right? It's often how we perceive it. And in the first instance, when something like that happens, we can either stand up for ourselves and put healthy boundaries in place with people, or we might say nothing, but just silently be resentful, right? It depends on how well you're balanced within self to stand up for yourself, yeah, in terms of your own empowerment when you feel that something's unjust in your world or unfair. Obviously, it usually relates to other people or experiences that we're either involved in, subjected to, or partly responsible for, yeah? And in terms of resentment, it can come from a place of deep disappointment. It can come from anger. It can come from fear, yeah, stuff coming up. And, you know, you always have the option in terms of working through anger is to recognize anger before it goes into resentment, right? Often resentment is something you hold on to for a while. It can initially stem from anger and then you hold on to it. Resentment is, it's often ill will towards someone else, right? It's how you're feeling about someone else or a circumstance. It's what you're projecting out because of a feeling or perception of unfairness or injustice, yeah? If you hold on to it for a long time, it can lead to unhappiness, anxiety, depression, prolonged irritability within yourself. You can just keep recycling through it. Yeah, you can keep bringing those memories up over and over again. You can just instantly see someone and trigger, and the minute you see them, you think, oh, I'm resentful, don't like you. Yeah, that's ill will. It's stuff you're holding on to. Guaranteed they've probably already worked through it and let go of it. Or not. It takes a considerable amount of your own time and energy to hold on to resentment. What does that mean? It means that you don't allow into your life joy, happiness, all that time you can be spending in positivity and optimism, you're stuck in resentment, yeah, about someone or something. What happens with it is that it backfires on that person that's holding on to the resentment because it can hold you stuck in your own life, yeah, in these states, yeah, you're going to end up worse off because of it, despite what it was triggered in the first instance. It's not going to say anything that triggered it was okay. It's not about judgment either, but it's a personal choice as to whether or not you act resentfully towards someone and hold on to it, yeah. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be, you know, strangers that have done something, you know, whatever it is for you that's triggered it. So let's have a look at resentment and in terms of how do you let it go? Because I think really in terms of Ziggy's question is trying to get out of that state of resentment, yeah. You know, it's quite clear from your question that you don't want to hold on to it. And I think probably at the basis of your question, Zizi, is a deep level of hurt, yeah, hurt and anger and probably disappointment in someone or something. You know, as a mind, body, soul balance coach, I also do a lot of distance Reiki energy healing, which works on your chakras, clearing those out. Dare I say, we just did one on clairaudience, right? My right ear's pinging off, so if you're talking to your spirit gods after this, they're going to give you messages in your right ear. Or they're just coming into our session right now. Let's come back to, what was I saying? Okay, so in terms of how do you, so it's easy. you know, the way in which you've asked your question is that, you know, from it, it's quite clear that you want to let it go. Yeah, you want to let go of that resentment. And I guess you've got to kind of look at the underlying things that lay beneath that. And instead of pushing emotions down, which is often what happens when we initially feel angry, is we can push emotions down and then we can think about it a lot instead of getting them out. Whether that's you physically getting them out in terms of yourself and managing your own emotions, or whether you need to outwardly express to someone that they've crossed a boundary of yours or whatever they've done you feel is unfair or unjust. Whether or not there's a solution to that or not, it's about expressing how you feel, and not in a forceful way, but, you know, ideally in a balanced way. Sometimes that doesn't happen if, you know, your emotions are all tied into this. I guess it's also asking yourself, this first question is, did I stand up for myself in that instance? Do I know how to put healthy boundaries in place with people? Not only to respond to whatever triggered this, but going forward. Is it behaviour that I'm constantly subjected to by family and friends, and it just piles all this resentment continually? Yeah. If that's the case, when you start putting healthy boundaries in place with people, you start not only unraveling all of that stuff, but you start protecting yourself more. Yeah. And often your ability to set boundaries with people, especially if they're continually crossing them, right, can be karmic stuff. You've never learned how to put healthy boundaries in place. You might have weak boundaries. People constantly stepping over them. You might be dealing with somebody who's quite forceful, who's not used to being told, no, you can't say that to me or do that, right? And they'll continually try it on because they're used to stepping over everyone's boundaries. Yeah, that's quite a difficult situation to tackle, but you can tackle it. So in terms of releasing the resentment, often when resentment comes up and we feel that we've been treated unfairly or unjustly, we often can never see the other person's point of view, right? We're only seeing our own. You can often not see why they've done something that they have. You might have a complete differences in values. Something they may have done may not be something significant to them because it's their model of the world. Yet to you, it's something very significant, right? Because it's against your values. You may not be able to see that other person, whilst you're holding resentment against them, there's a level of hurt within them as well. Yeah, you're totally ignoring that side of it. So you might both be hurting. Yeah. And how do we, you know, in terms of resentment, often what happens is we're projecting our resentful energy onto others. It can be things like constantly criticizing, berating someone else, on continual ongoing complaints to that person, about that person with others, getting into victimhood, you know, playing out that you're the victim in the whole situation, whether you have or haven't been, right? But when you stand in a place of disempowerment, you give your personal power away. A lot of it is about standing in those feelings, particularly in the first instance. But if you're deeply entrenched in this resentment, then it's about digging yourself out of that hole, right? And getting all those feelings out, releasing them. As an energy healer, you know, a lot of the stuff that we hold on to can severely impact your chakras and how you feel about yourself, your level of positivity and optimism. It's often past stuff that you can't change anymore that you're holding on to. It can be just mindfulness stuff that you're consistently recycling through that affects your day-to-day level of optimism and positivity, and your relationships with others. Resentment will significantly impact your relationships with others, yeah? Yeah, and often it's because somebody hasn't spoken up. You know, you may not have spoken up, or that person may not have spoken up. Let me tell you, I've been on the receiving end of resentment from a partner that I was totally unaware of. And it's an awful state of being to know that you're in a relationship with someone, regardless of what it is, whether it's friendship or personal relationship, and they're resentful of you. It's an ugly, ugly thing, dare I say, in terms of that ill will towards someone. Because it's highly negative, right? And I'm not trying to judge it, right? But if you're on the receiving end of resentment from someone, it's really quite awful to be on the receiving end of resentment. And it's about coming back to self. I mean, we can all do it, be resentful of stuff that's happened to us in our life, yeah? Because often in those instances, we've got no control over how someone else's behaviour, right? We're just on the receiving end of it. I can say that in both ways, yeah. It's usually always, dare I say, it's always about how we manage our own emotions. We always have responsibility over what we're thinking, feeling, saying to others, saying to ourselves. Yeah, we always have that responsibility. So standing in those feelings, recognizing it, don't shove them down. You can hear any snuffling right now, little Pomeranian. I mean, one of the super important things you can do is about applying forgiveness to a situation, yeah? And that's always about freeing yourself up. It's about releasing your energy or energetic cords and ties to a situation or person, yeah, that you've allowed to become attached to you, or you're attached to them in that instance because you keep applying energy towards those that situation, whether, you know, particularly if it's negativity or resentment. You know, there's quite a few videos in terms of the inspirational playlist that you can check out in terms of how to do and apply that forgiveness and cut those energetic cords and ties. Just be very mindful of the more that you stay in that state of resentment is you continually giving your power away to a situation that's past, yeah, an incident that's gone. You're the one holding on to it. So what are some of the other things you can do? Well, you might have heard me talk about mindfulness practices, yeah, and it's an awesome technique because it basically interrupts all the negativity going on in terms of recycling through old memories, the instances or the circumstances that created the resentment in the first place. And it's just about pulling yourself up every time you start recycling through that and go, oh, I'm just telling myself the same old story. I've literally just done it again, yeah. Go pack it up. Yeah, pack it up. If you're entrenched in that thought process, one of the really helpful things is just to repeat an affirmation constantly, over and over again, even if it's for 5 minutes, silently, in your mind, to just interrupt those thought patterns. Some of the beautiful ones you can say is that I deserve all the happiness in the world. I deserve all the happiness in the world. I deserve all the happiness in the world. Yeah, that one's directly from me. The other one from Louise Hay is, I am worthy of all the good things in life and I lovingly accept them now. I am worthy of all the good things in life and I lovingly accept them now. You might have another affirmation that's very dear to your heart, yeah? It's really not so much as what the affirmation is about. Make sure it's positive, yeah? But it's about just the pattern interrupt. The more you do that, you'll find that over probably 2 to 4 weeks, you can consistently interact those old thought patterns, the old memories you're recycling through. The more you do that, the less you'll have to do it going forward, yeah. Actively work on not engaging in resentment. When you feel those resentful feelings come up, I'm telling you, they come from a place of ill will towards others. Pull yourself up and go pack it up. Again, mindfulness practices. You can use the same techniques. It's about engaging in relaxation and self-calming techniques consistently to raise your vibration and bring you back more into balance with your emotions. Yeah, and we do a lot of that stuff in terms of the inspirational videos and stuff I talk about. So yeah, and I guess if I can leave you with anything in terms of resentment, is it's not a place you want to stay stuck in too long. If you live in that for a long time, it becomes part of your personality, right? Often that will significantly play out in your relationships. It can ruin relationships, but it can also be a constant way in which you react with certain people because you're resentful of them, yeah? And that's something you're holding on to. So just be mindful of that. But obviously, I think, in terms of letting it go, there's some great strategies there in terms of how to let go of resentment. Key one is not to hold on to it, yeah? Don't hold on to it. Release it. Put healthy boundaries in place with people. Learn how to stand up for yourself in a very empowered, compassionate, caring way, not only for yourself and others. Then you won't need to get stuck in those places, yeah? Oh, and before I go, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, you get all the free content, get notified of the free content on my channel. You might have also noticed a join button, right next to it. So the join button is member privileges, member perks. In terms of that, if you also follow my tarot readings, you'll get 2 bonus tarot readings every month for each star sign, yeah. You'll get one on Soulmate energy. You'll also get another one on life path, life purpose, and a more extended version of your general energies. I'll also be doing some live Q&A sessions for members only. You'll only get access to them if you're a member, a channel member, yeah. They'll be coming up in the near future. So if you're interested in that, I'll pop the video link up that explains all about it. You can go and check that out, see if it's something you want to do. And for now, Much love, much light. Namaste.